Hi, so today for our family history challenge for the week, Brother Bushman's going to share some ideas of how to edit photos in MyHeritage and on Pixlr. So we'll let you take over, Brother Bushman.
Great. Well, I wanted to show just a little bit of what I've got a major project going on. So my father has about 4,500 slides. I probably have about 2 or 3,000 of my own. And over time, slides deteriorate. And so we want to digitize them. We're in the process of doing some family books, and we're gathering photos, my family members, to put in those books. So I first started scanning about a year ago at the Family History Library in Lehigh, and it's a great location. Also at the BYU Family History Library. Um, the good and the bad. The good is they have good quality equipment. The bad is you do have to clean your slides before, and then you also have to take them either out of carousels or stack them in the right order, in the right orientation, and either put them in these their carousels or in these stacks that will automatically feed them. But you can do quite a few pretty quickly. The downside of that is also you have to schedule the time. You're limited to about an hour, and sometimes their machines can go so fast that if you have slight bends in your slides, then they won't actually feed. And you won't notice that they didn't actually get scanned until you're home. You've taken a look at them and you realize that one of them's missing or several of them are missing, which then I would have to pull out and then go back and do those slides on my own. I was doing some at the BYU Family History Library a few weeks ago, and there I had a problem with, well, the good thing is this, they have some software at Lehigh where they scan it and then it'll crop it for you, which, will take away the perimeters and make it look nice and clean, which is great. The BYU one did not have that. And so every library has a little bit different setup and equipment. So I decided to go try out the Family History Library in Riverton, which is at the Riverton office building, and it's on the main floor. So I scheduled a time, and right now the Family History Library in Lehigh is closed until mid-March while they're doing some reconstruction. So the Family History Library at Riverton is very busy. And so I got an hour on the machines, and it was a new type of scanner I'd never seen before. Um, it was very small and compact. It's called the Kodak Scanza, Scanza. And while I was there, I looked it up and I was surprised at how cheap it is on Amazon. It was about $149. And so I did my slides. I thought it's a slower process, but I had a lot more control because I could see on the screen exactly the image it was going to take. Did I have it right? Was it reversed? Was it upside down? And so I could make any of those changes before I hit the scan button. So it's very, very basic and easy. So I purchased one while I was there on Amazon and got it the next day. And so now my scanning software setup is right over on that desk over there. And so I clean my slides and I'll tell you what I do. So I'll show you my tools. So and I did some research and found a good site at the National Archives on how to clean slides appropriately. So some of my father's slides were about 95 years old. Some of them he had purchased in Hawaii when he served his mission there, and his own mission slides are over 80 years old. And over time, slides that are made of Kodachrome or Ektachrome have a tendency to fade to certain colors. So I think it's Ektachrome. Those pictures will actually fade to reds, and Kodachrome will fade to blues. So if you look here, these are some of my dad's slides from about 1941, or actually 44. And you can see here in the center, these are pictures out in the Arizona desert. I'll just boost one up here um, and show you how faded that is. That did not look that way when my father scanned it. or when he took the picture. So slides and all pictures have a tendency to fade until you digitize them. So the first thing, can you see still a screen of me? Okay. So I have a 35 millimeter slide here. And what I've done is I've purchased some isopropyl alcohol, but it's a unique kind. It's 99% alcohol. So the most of the kind, if you get it off the shelf in Walmart, is about 79%, but this is 99%. So you have to make sure it's at least 99% so it doesn't damage the slides. And so I have a little petri dish that I use with a Q-tip. And I'll fill that up with alcohol. And then I'll take the slide and just rub it vigorously on both sides. One thing I've noticed is some of these slides, even 40 years ago, on one side, the emulsion side, there's a film, just a faded film. And in fact, you can feel it as you're rubbing it with the alcohol. It feels a little rough. And then I'll use a microfiber cloth, just a basic microfiber cloth, clean off both sides till it's dry. And in fact, once it's done, I use an hand air to get all the dust off. And then if you get it on the right angle, you can see if it's clean or if you still have that film. And some slides I've had to do twice on one side, rub it again with the cloth, do this, and then I'm good. So I'm actually going to stop sharing for a second to show you. Let's see, how do I stop sharing? I'm not sharing my screen right now, right?
Yes, you are.
I am.
So if you go
Okay, here we go. Now, okay. So these are the slide reels that I and my father have used. And so this is a brand new one. I just pulled it out of the closet, haven't even looked at them yet. And the first thing that I will do is I have a little projector and I'm going to run them through there and I will make sure that they're all in the right orientation. They're not sideways or upside down. Once I've done that, I will take a magic marker and I will just trace around the outside edge on the top so every slide has a dot. So that when I'm done scanning, I can put them back in at their right orientation. And I don't have to spend a lot of time guessing. That makes it very quick to do that. So that's my step. I first take a slide reel out, I watch it, make sure everything's in the correct order. Once it's done, I put the mark on it. Then I take each one out and clean it. And once I've cleaned it, I then begin to scan it on the machine over there. And it saves it on a little SD card. And once I've put it on the SD card, I just copy it into a folder that I call original scans. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen and I'm going to show you how it works. So share. Okay. So you'll notice up at the top here, it's on an expansion drive. I'm not saving these on my hard drive because I don't want to fill up my hard drive. I want to keep these all consistent on a external drive. I call these original scans. So once I've scanned it, they will always stay how they were as scanned. And the reason I do that, I don't write over them, is if new technology comes out in 10 or 20 or 30 years and somebody else wants to take the original scans and improve even better, they may be able to do that. And I'll show you some examples. So just a couple of weeks ago, this product I use called Pixlr embedded artificial intelligence that will help you improve blurriness. That wasn't there a year ago. And so that's why I say I keep my original scans in case things even improve further. So, but let's take an example of this. So I'm going to grab a picture. You can see here, image number 13. This is an image of my mother. In fact, I'm going to just boost it up here. This is an image of my mother and my two siblings on the beach in San Diego. You'll notice over the past 65, 70 years, it's faded blue. So I'm going to move this over um, while I drag it into my heritage. So on the screen here, you should see my heritage. So it's just myheritage.com. What I'm going to show you is free, but it's limited to, I believe, 3 images a day that you can color correct. I pay about $2.50 a month right now to have unlimited. So you'll come up here to photos and you'll notice a lot of different things they have. Photo tagger, colorize, enhance, etc. I go to colorize. So I click on colorize. You can either upload the photo using this, but it's faster if you just click it and drag it in. And it just takes a couple of seconds. It uploads it, runs some software on it. It's now thinking about the image. And it's going to show me a before and after. So you can see right there the difference. So, I mean, dramatic improvement, right? So I'm going to download the photo, color restored. It's going to go into my download folder. And then I'm going to go over to this other software I subscribe to called Pixlr Express. It's kind of the poor man's Photoshop, or I call it the cost-effective version of Photoshop. And it's very simple to use. So is a subscription, but it's very cost-effective. Again, like $2 a month. They'd also allow some free versions, again, like 3 images a day. But if you want to do like I'm doing thousands, a subscription is good. So I'm going to click open the image. I'm going to grab the image. It's going to retrieve it it's just all online. So none of this that I've showed you has to be installed on your computer. It's all just web. So here's the photo. First thing I do is I'll go in and look at croppings. And this actually looks really good, but I can crop it any way I want. So I can, if you crop it, so for example, if I just come down here and say, I really want it to look like that, it's going to now fill the whole screen with just that, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it as is. But if you did accidentally scan it backwards, you can flip it very easily with the click of a button. If it's sideways or upside down, you can modify that here as well. But notice the common problem with so many slides, the dust spots. Even though I cleaned this, even though I got it as clean as I could, there's always dust spots. So I can come in, well, first of all, I'm going to come into some color adjustments. And I can really saturate the sky and the waves. See how I can almost go back to black and white, or I can go really, which makes them look sunburned. I don't want it to go that far. But I'll just give it just a little bit of color. If the exposure is a little bit too much, which it is in this case, I can drop the exposure down. So I'm going to drop the exposure down and I'm going to bring the contrast up. And again, these buttons down here, they're just slides and you just make them to how you like them. I'm going to hit apply. Then you have this Band-Aid, and this is the heal button. And this is my favorite part. So you can see a little dot on the screen now. I'm going to start going and hitting all of these, and I'm going to get rid of the debris in the sky. So here is a thread. Now I can make the brush a little bit bigger. And all this is doing is taking an average with an algorithm of the colors around it and filling in that spot. So I'll come over to this spot, get rid of that, get rid of this one, get rid of that one. And then once I've got it the way I want, and I've had to do some that are pretty intense, like a scratch across somebody's face. And if you had to do that, you can zoom in. You can go really small. And see, there is a spot near my mother's shoulder. I'm going to get rid of that one. It could be just something on the beach, but it could be distracting, so I just got rid of that. You can actually get rid of people. So I could come in here and say, I just want this to be with this one sibling. And there is a feature in here, which I won't go through. It takes a little bit of time. And you just outline the person. And then click apply, and that person will disappear and it will fill in the background with what's on the sides. Now, if you're in a group of people, it won't look very good. But if you're in this case, I could get rid of my sister pretty easily with just the that tool there. And then I just save it out how I want it, and that's it. And so I've done that about 1,400 times the past month. So
That is amazing, Craig. Thank you so much. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to pause the recording here and then we can go into asking you some questions. But thank you so much for showing us My Heritage in Pixlr. Really
yeah,
appreciate it.